I mean, where do you start with something like this? I mean, It's Cold was like it was such a phenomenon. It was so impactful for all our lives, I think, that it's hard to know where the right spot to begin is.
We're going. It's cold. People come up to me on the street sometimes and they say, how does it feel to produce and direct and write one of the greatest cinematic achievements of the 21st, 20th, and 19th century? And I say, it's cold.
I mean, it's unbelievable how much traction it got. Just days after, I remember walking down the street and people were already quoting it, you know? Hey stranger, it's cold, like geez.
So one day, my friend Andrew, he comes to me and he says, Sam, I want to make a video. And I look at him and I go a little questiony.
I had no idea that on that fateful day, we would produce one of the greatest artistic achievements. Not only cinematic, not only with performances, one of the greatest artistic achievements ever. Ever!
You could just see it in his eyes. He looked at me, he said, Sam, be in my movie. And I said to him, I don't know the first thing about filmmaking. And he said, that doesn't matter, Sam.
All right, so Carson, if you would just like to tell me your experiences with filming, it's cold.
1 minute, I gotta reply to this email. It's about, you know, they want me to star in the new Star Wars. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of below my grade, you know. All right, sorry. I'll take off my sunglasses. Sorry, what was the question?
I can just remember now, the moment that word was spoken from his mouth. We were just chilling inside one of the boardrooms, just trying to think of some ideas for our next groundbreaking video. And then in Sam walks, and he says these two perfect words.
Hey there, stranger. Come back. I mean, if you're only gonna get one shot at something like this, then you gotta make that count, so. First day of filming, I showed up, and there was about 15 people on set. It was a bit disorganized. We didn't really know what we were doing at first, because the script was only about half written.
But the actual film, like the process was long and it was painstaking. We sat days.
Just the days where we walked outside and we tried to search for areas that were incredibly cold for us to actually feel as characters that it was indeed cold. But some days just weren't worth it. But then there was that one day, me, Sam, Andrew, and Carson, we walked outside. And I could feel the cold, brisk air because it was so cold that day. And then we saw this little snowbank, had a giant hole in it. Carson was like, boy, I'm gonna jump in that hole. And we were pumped. We were like, Carson, do it.
Like, Andrew, he's a very, very naturalistic filmmaker. He'll just like put actors on the screen and say, go, and let them do whatever they want to do just organically, like off the top of their head. And I thought, that's insane. That's a bad way to make a movie. But he looked at me, and he still had that confidence in his eyes. He said, this movie's gonna be great. And I'll be honest, I didn't believe him at first. But like, as you know, like, things turned out the way they did.
Like, we worked with a couple people. There was like, that one guy named Sebastian. I don't know who the fuck he was. He showed up for one day, and they fired him.
Me, like, getting down and like, cuddling up next to Carson, that wasn't in the script. That wasn't even planned by Andrew. Like, I just sort of like went through it.
Sam's genius came through again. He was like, Andy, flip on that recording button. And I was like, Sam, are you sure this we're only a few weeks into production. I mean, we can't start off that simple. And then he left, and I was like, okay, that's it. Nothing can beat that. But then he walked around. He did it again, like the mastermind. Absolute brilliance.
I felt something. And I looked at Andrew from behind the camera, and he had this grin on his face. That's when I knew. That's when I knew we were making gold.
So I won the Oscar for Best Actor in that. Well, I was nominated, but you know, in my heart, I won. It was a long story. You know, they gave Best Supporting Actor. Was it Sam? Was that guy's name? Yeah, Sam got Best Supporting Actor. It's bullshit. That guy was just, you know, he was hanging on my back. Like, I carried him all the way through that scene.
Obviously, when I got the notification that we were going to Cannes, like, I lit up. I was ecstatic. I didn't know what that meant, but I could tell it was something special. And like when it was announced that the Academy wanted us to host, I mean, I still don't know what that means, but we did it.
And obviously the line, it's iconic. And most people think, oh, that's what he's known for, but this film was nothing.
After seeing where all the guys have ended up, I think some of the fame that has come with the 2 billion YouTube views, it's gone to their head a little bit. Sometimes when I feel the fame and the glory and the sheer magnificence of It's Cold come and start to affect my ego, I just have to take a step back and realize that it was just lightning in a bottle.
When we reached, I think it was 2 billion hits, I remember there was this down period in my life because I was using all the money to buy crack cocaine. And I remember John, sweet John, he showed up in my house one day and he said, "Sam, what are you doing?" And I said, "Crack."
Like Sam, I didn't want to see him go down the hole, so when I went and visited his house years later, I saw his addiction and I helped nurse him back to health because that's what true friends do.
And he looked at me. And John looked at me and he said, "Stop."
And I said to him, "Hey, it's cold." He was like, "Yeah, it's cold."
That was it. That was what I needed. John and Carson will always be my friends. Like, what they did for me will always be with me.
Fuck those guys, man. I never liked them. On the set, they're always like, oh, you know, we're such good friends. Let's get selfies and shit. Man, I never even wanted to hang with them. They like to think that we're always friends. We got like temporary tattoos.
Except for the tattoos we got. Turned out the tattoos we got after filming were in temporary ink, not permanent.
They're idiots. I did it on temporary on purpose. I knew it was temporary. I didn't want to have something to remember them by. I got this stupid film to remember them by. It might have launched my career, but it isn't my career. It isn't what made me better.
So not everything we did will be with us forever.
So to say that this film didn't have an impact would be a lie. It did something to everyone, and it left them going places. Like, I don't know where any of them are, but they all went somewhere. So I think that's what the lesson is today. I'm the best, everyone else sucked, and that's it. Thanks for the interview. I got emails to attend to initially.
Hey there, stranger. You look cold. It's cold. Well, have a good day. And yeah, that's really my story.
This is a message to anyone out there who thinks that they're not good enough and that you can't just go out with a camera and amass pure gold. You can. And we did. Thank you.
Keep going.
And he looked at me. I have a weird, that's a bad laugh.
I really can't
But
stay.
baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
But baby, it's cold outside.